Inherent resolve. Dynamic loss of constitutional liberties, slowly at first, then virtually overnight. The feeling disenfranchised by trade, by your nation. Not isolated in belief. The incorporation of the United States, not a new resolve by any means, thrust into the face of aware Americans. True nature of imperial leadership in Washington was brought to the public eye by a brave president who had the courage to stand against the Beltway. The working class of Americans make up the majority of the Patriot class, who believe there is no more sacred duty than defense of the nation. The pending debate is when does political discussion fall, and we mobilize against a tyrannical force trying to destroy our way of life. Has this circumstance presented itself in the day of the founders? We would already be in a state of warfare. Too many ramifications to this eventuality to calculate. What would the transformation of a free nation into a globalized state look like? That answer is relatively easy. The projection is visible throughout history and of the world. Restriction to inherent liberties and bestowal of control by man. Disregarding liberties is a travesty to the United States, cannot easily recover from. Most people are oblivious to the outcome of restriction of freedom. They won't fully grasp a militant state until it actually happens. Of course, this is the way of all things. They must be shown. Such a folly for our children who have to live through this period of history. The future for the U.S. is at a friction point where it could go either way. We could refer back to a free nation, the view of the hopeful, the dreamers. Hopefully it does not appear from circumstance to be the course. Too far regressed by greed, desire for power, and bitter sentiments have left a rift within the nation. Multiple sides of the equation scraping for whatever ascension of power can be grasped at. That leaves the normals, hard, honest, working people to deal with all the repercussions of this blatant power grab. Look at the last 6 months of U.S. history, at the immense restriction of liberty we have already seen displayed at every level of our country. Completely illegal restriction to our First Amendment by tech, political, media, have left Americans without a voice or route to display frustration, a dangerous course with so much of the country on the verge of revolt. Will the people finally be pushed to the point where they cannot take the oppression anymore? I truly do not know. Internalized warfare is a dirty, bloody mess, and not something anyone wants, especially within the land of the free, home of the brave. The remnants of what we, the people of age, remember of the core ideas of this nation. The right to choose your path, your voice, your future is now being dictated by an establishment with more and more frequencies working against the will of the people. What many believe to be the last fail-safe for the people's ability to protect their nation, elections. Seemingly stripped away from the people and an administration installed into every level of governance, regardless of which side of the debate you are on. There are huge discrepancies within the latest election that have gone unanswered and cast as illegal speech. Imagine that in America, illegal speech. 10 years ago, such a thought would have been thought outrageous. How far we have traveled in such a short amount of time. A friction that continues to braze even the most resilient. How are we, the people that make up this nation, supposed to continue as if nothing has happened to what we remember of our foundations of the nation? We can't. The founders said it very clearly. When the will of the government goes directly against the American people, it is the duty of the people to remove the government and vote for a new government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What the founders did not describe is by what matter this transition should occur. One must speculate based on the resolve of the founders and the path they chose to safeguard the nation. Focus, determination, and unity is what is required, a voice to unite the masses, seemingly void from our current predicament. So we remain scattered in belief in the fundamental ideology of the nation, fighting for scraps like the rats we are. Questionable intentions with every decision. I find that most people do not have the fortitude to do what is required, a belief that can stand apart from the narrative and the level of sacrifice it would require. There is much to lose, and no one should feel pushed into one course or the other. Doing so would lead to much resentment and failure. We must, however, detrimentally go through this period of time so that it may be experienced regardless of the outcome. We must remain focused on the end state and desire to shape the outcome within our intention.